Positive Spin, presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world. On today's program, we present the half-hour documentary, Analysis and Review of an Artist's Work, G. Mark Mulleian, by noted art curator and author, Paul Deegan.
Artist G. Mark Mulleian, a Vietnam veteran and anti-nuclear activist, uses his life-affirming and sometimes apocalyptic images to bring the reality of war, the potential of nuclear catastrophe, and environmental devastation to the forefront. His incredibly detailed paintings, sometimes called transrealism, focuses on the raising of people's consciousness, human potentials, and possibilities. Paul Deegan received his Bachelor of Education degree from Mather College, Manchester University in England, with majors in education, English literature, and history of Western art. Paul has written an extensive study of G. Mark Mulleian's paintings. In this short documentary, he explores the subtle nuances and brings to the surface the hidden meanings of Mulleian's work.
There is a contemporary artist, essayist, and political activist by the name of Paul Deegan, who puts forward a definition of art with which I strongly agree. And I quote, "A true work of art invites us into an intimate relationship, not only with the work of art, but with ourselves as well. For the purpose of art is not to entertain us, medicate us, and make us feel better, but to liberate us and reveal our intrinsic freedom. Art is therefore a unique manifestation of the divine, in which we are invited to participate, a life-changing act in which it manifests through us, and we and our world become transformed in the process." There is another artist, a writer actually, by the name of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who speaks through the title character in his classic tale, The Little Prince. He says, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." Both of these statements seem to resonate most appropriately when applied to the works of G. Mark Mulleian. Since my studies in art history at Manchester University in England, I've not come across works by any other artist which combine technical skill with aesthetic and conceptual complexity in such a disarmingly subtle way. His paintings range in subject matter from scenes depicting seemingly simple moments in time, random glimpses of objects or articles lost or left behind, visual meditations on the sweetness of impermanence, images expressing quiet longing or regret that go far beyond a simple nostalgic remembrance of things past, into a realm of catastrophic implication and transcendent meaning for the present and the future. But always in these simple scenes, there is a mystery, an almost irresistible invitation to reverie, reflection, and ultimately to transformation. What is immediately most striking about his work is the technical realism, some might even call it hyperrealism, the photographic authenticity of objects and settings. There is an immediate recognition of the visual truth of these objects, a sort of reality factor, and one is immediately drawn into the psychological and emotional field of the work. In all of Mulleian's paintings, as in Japanese haiku, the universe is reflected in the single, the small, but especially in the humble, simple things. And in this characteristic, there is a mystical, often prophetic quality that permeates his work. Perhaps the real key to appreciating Mulleian's painting is an understanding from the outset that what at first appears as a simple image is, throughout, like encountering a riddle, the visual equivalent of a Zen koan. In almost every case, the various visual subjects form a matrix of symbolic elements that are intended to draw the viewer ever closer into a reflective examination of the nature and meaning of experience as lived in the continuum of time. Indeed, It is out of a uniquely poetic imagination that Mulleian asks questions about time, but questions also about feeling and transcendence, about loss and isolation, about mortality and metaphysical realities, about spirit and light, about creativity and destruction, and quite certainly about hope and transformation. More than any of his other works, the one painting that manifests virtually all of these characteristic qualities is The Orphan, the award-winning, sensitively romantic work that was completed in 1986 and became one of the public's most favorite pieces, and for good reason. Deeply melancholic, strangely hopeful, and essentially mystical, there is a poignant vortex of time depicted here in universal themes of profound loss and gradual decay, set among the ongoing majestic cycles of nature. Placed in such a context, human intention and suffering are as transient as the nettles in the field, as richly meaningful and inevitable as the passage of a sudden autumn shower. All are necessary, in fact, essential to the whole. In warmly romantic, gently muted colors, the dappled, richly sensuous play of light caresses the weathered skeletal remains of a rapidly deteriorating wooden house. At the threshold of the ruin, the spirit of a child sits dreaming. How many hopes, how many memories, and how lovingly remembered. Past, present, and future are all presented here, but the prevailing mood is one of overarching serenity. There is an implication that natural cycles of life, though majestically unrelenting, may also be understood to be sympathetic when seen in a larger than personal context. As evidenced in the witness of an onlooking squirrel and a gently arching branch, nature in her seasonal breath of autumn seems to reach to shelter and comfort the child. In transcending the human loss, yet embracing the spiritual force that governs it all, what appears to be a separation may, in fact, be quite the opposite. In one poignant moment, all becomes one, and matter and spirit have found a balance. As the artist quotes, structural permanence, falling away to time, is the very brace that weathers against the elements of impermanence. A perfect paradox. There are many other paintings in Mulleian's collection which echo the variations on the theme of time and loss. Among them, Day After Summer is a meditation on the sweetness of impermanence, a momentary glance at the abandoned vehicles which transported a child's imagination, while the painting The Tricycle captures the lost freedom and carefree spirit of childhood, inevitably trapped in the web of time. The Sneaker echoes a similar theme, contrasting the wistful energies of innocent exuberance with the harsh realities of driving forces that seem to guide our destiny. Time relentlessly compels us forward into the future. Reflections on mortality and impermanence continue Mulleian's dialogue with the world in the work entitled The Moccasins. Out of a gently undulating sea of sand emerge a pair of worn and weathered moccasins, the color of burnished gold.